The funding for this video is provided by the amazing members of my Patreon. Also contributions from viewers like you. Thank you. Y'all started from PBS Kids, what you gonna do? Fight me? Anyway, roll the video. I have mentioned in the past that panty and stocking is something that I like, but I could never ethically recommend. If you know what panty and stocking is, you understand why I said that. But if you don't, here's a brief rundown. Panty and Stocking is a series about two angel sisters. You heard that. Sisters! Because someone tried to tell me that they weren't sisters. But anyway, as I was saying, that person who said that, by the way, is somebody who doesn't do their fucking research on anything. But let's continue. They were kicked out of heaven for their bad behavior, and they were sent down to earth to prove themselves that they were worthy of going back home. And in order to do this, they had to take care of the ghosts that were fucking up the planet. It sounds pretty tame until you go into detail about what is in this show. It contains strong language, sex jokes, nudity, heavy violence. There's a really creepy priest who's just a minstrel character. Even though I don't agree with so much of what is in this show, I enjoy it for its art style, the fashion, the voice acting, some of the characters, and the music. Do I think Panty and Stocking is good? Absolutely fucking not. I don't even think Panty and Stocking is good. The series is amazingly racist. Storylines often feel sloppily thrown together. A lot of the humor is not funny. It depends too much on shock in a way to be comical, and it just ends up being gross. Like, how many jokes about piss do we need in the show? And the writing can be just as bad as Euphoria and Miraculous Ladybugs at times. So when I gave this show a rewatch in 2022, because I was feeling a bit nostalgic, I wasn't expecting much because I had already seen it. There was one episode in particular that stood out to me because it handled a very taboo subject very well. Panty and Stocking did something right. Hey y'all, it's Harriana and I'm back with another video. Hi, hello, how are you doing? My name is Harriana and welcome back to The Pirate Ship, also known as Harry Hood's Pirate Ship. I am the captain, you are not my first mate, and I'm gonna first mate because you want to know why? Bring your ear closer to the speaker so you can hear me clearly. Nobody's worthy of being the first mate. But hi, hello, how are you doing? My name is Harriana and I like to make content based on nostalgia and family and children's entertainment and all the issues that I find within those spaces. Today's video is going to be, strictly nostalgia based because I'm gonna be honest, I watched Panty and Stocking far too young, and this video that I am in the process of making, I mean, it's gonna be done, you guys are watching it, but this episode right here just clearly shows that I was way too young to be watching it because I did not understand it and what was going on until I was older. But before we can get into this, there are just a couple of little housekeeping rules that we need to go over. Don't worry, it's not a thing that is going on with the community. It's more so something that has been an ongoing trend here on my channel, and it has to do with the one particular song that I have been using in all my videos. And you've been watching my videos since about 2022. I have been using the song I Love Your Girl by The Dream in pretty much all of my videos. Not all of them, but a good majority of the videos that I've put out within the last 3 years, that song was in them. So there has been some recent news with certain allegations regarding The Dream having to do with SA, and I'm really trying to dance around what it exactly was. I'm gonna have a link to it down below if you're interested in reading on it. Please read with caution, because as someone who is an SA survivor, this was very much triggering, and because of that, I no longer feel comfortable using I Love Your Girl in my videos, nor do I feel comfortable with using any of his other music too just as well, because I've always liked his music. But I ended up finding some other things out about The Dream just as well, and this was before the allegations that have come out recently. There was stuff that happened years ago, back in 2014, where he was brutalizing his pregnant baby mother at the time. I'm not sure if him and that woman were married, but she was pregnant with his child, and he was brutalizing her. I just don't feel comfortable with using that man's song anymore in my videos, no matter how much I like it. So yeah, he's done here. Y'all are never gonna hear I Love a Girl in my videos from this day forward. Let's continue. There are 2 shop announcements going on right now. I have a 40% off coupon for you all. This video is going to be posted on the 9th, which means the coupon expires the night that this video is going to be going up. So if you guys would like to use it, highly recommend you do. And then also, my book is now back in stock. I've talked about this quite a few times on my channel, lots of times actually. But last summer, me and my friend Amaya Janelle, we wrote a book together called Do Not Call Me Sis. It is a collection of personal essays that have to do with fandom, misogynoir, ableism, and white feminism. We have been out of the physical copies for a while, and I finally was able to get those back in stock. So if you want to go ahead and grab a physical copy, you can go ahead and do so. But tonight is the only night that you can use the 40% off coupon for it. Okay, that's enough housekeeping rules. That is enough of little self-promo stuff. Now let's go ahead and get into today's video. Today's video is going to be an art commentary one while I discuss this one particular episode of Panty and Stocking, because y'all know I'm not able to film on my camera at the moment because I don't have my battery and I'm not gonna be able to get one till later. So y'all are gonna watch me draw this mini comic that I made of an AU where Megara is Megami's teacher and Toji has a crush on her. So yeah, I was thinking of like Abbott Elementary when I made that. I saw someone mention that they really like the teacher ex single dad trope. And I was like, you know what? Let me play around with that with Toji and Megara. So here we go. So the episode of Panty and Stocking that we are going to be talking about today would be Ghost, the Phantom of Dayton City. Before I can even go into detail about what this episode did right, we have to talk about what happened in the episode first. So yeah, what the fuck was going on? The episode starts off with Panty and Stocking looking for men to hook up with. Okay, by the way, if you've never seen Panty and Stocking, this is just normal for the series. Both of the sisters they get around. That's all I'm gonna say about this. People try to act as if Stocking didn't get around as much as Panty did. I'm like, she didn't get around as much as her sister, but she sure did. Did y'all not pay attention to a lot of the stuff Stocking said? But anyways, they're at the top of a building looking around at men, and Stocking ends up seeing this one guy named Patrick. Patrick is this gross ass looking man, but for some reason Stocking is like head over heels for him. It's like love at first sight for her. So Panty is just like, girl, what the no, raise your standards. But Stocking runs down to the man, and next thing we know, him and her start a romantic relationship. While Panty was being very judgmental of the way Patrick looked, the more this goes on, she realizes that Patrick isn't a good person because he treats Stocking like shit. Not only is he just extremely rude to her, he doesn't appreciate any of the nice gestures that she does for him. Mind you, remember how I said Panty and Stocking is a series about 2 sisters that are taking care of the ghost in this town? Patrick is a ghost, therefore he's not supposed to be alive. Stocking is not supposed to be with this man, therefore this is seen as a forbidden love romance type thing. Stocking doesn't want to K-word him, but because he's already a ghost, it really doesn't matter how she feels, he has to be gone. But Panty specifically wants to take him out because of how much he is hurting her sister. While Panty and Stocking do not have the best sister bond, you can tell that they do care about each other. And here in this episode, it's pretty much Panty like, yeah, this man is literally hurting my sister and treating her terribly. Therefore, I'm gonna take him out. Say what y'all want about Panty, but she stood on business. The more this goes on, the more frustrating Panty gets with Stocking with this man as she keeps going on dates with him. She keeps going out with him. She is down bad for this nigga. Panty and Stocking are going back and forth with each other. Stocking's not listening to her. Panty's just really frustrated with it all. And it comes down to the point where Stocking is considering running away with Patrick. Long story short, she does. She packs her bags and leaves. And before Stalking could meet up with Patrick, that is when Panty decides that she's going to take him out. She disguises herself as Stalking. She puts on one of her outfits because the sisters have two completely different aesthetics. She goes to Patrick. She tries to take him out. Stalking stops her. And in the middle of these two arguing, Patrick reveals that Stalking showed him love and that he now is a better person and wants to heal and has finally found peace. The episode ends with Patrick going to heaven and Stalking is just a bit heartbroken, and then it ends. I am going to read you guys a piece from this article that was posted on the Huffington Post that explains why this episode works so well regarding Stalking and her behavior. Certain family members continuously ask me why someone like myself, a person with a seemingly high IQ, would allow themselves to be treated this way. How could a smart person end up in this situation? Every time I was asked this question, I cringed. The inference that I was stupid or ignorant because of my poor relationship choices did not make me already out of control situation any better. Anyone who is familiar with the dynamic of an A-word relationship would know that falling prey to one has nothing to do with a person's intelligence or even their socioeconomic status, rather their vulnerability. Vulnerability leaves a person wide open to fall prey to an A-worder. When I fell prey to my A-worder, I was very mentally and emotionally weakened state because all the things I had been through. In addition, I had just been dumped by a guy after confiding him that I had been R-worded. I have never felt lower. This vulnerability allowed for easy manipulation, and I was evidently sucked into a relationship by a man who made himself out to be my knight in shining armor. Stalking Anarchy, from what we can pick up from this series, she does not have the best life, nor does she have the happiest life. She is away from home because her home is originally heaven. She doesn't have the best, dynamic with her sister. Almost every single episode of this show has to do with those two arguing, and they live with that man, Garterbelt, who is just an overall despicable human being. So she's already in a pretty vulnerable situation. Even though this is Panty and Stalking, it shouldn't be taken too seriously, but when you come to my channel, you're going to think about the media that you're consuming. We see the main reason Stalking goes after this man is because she finds him to be attractive. That confuses Panty, but y'all know they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That's the main reason why she excused his behavior for so long. But the more she was around Patrick, we saw how much of a horrible person he was. But guess what? He was the only person that was showing Stalking attention. We have seen Panty and her interactions with numerous guys in this show, but we haven't necessarily seen Stalking's interactions with guys thus up until this point. I mean, we have, but this is like the most intense that we have seen it. We have seen in other occasions in this show that there are guys that are interested in Stalking, but she's not interested in them return. She actually wants to be with Patrick, regardless of how much of a horrible fucking person I hate this dude. The main reason she was able to excuse his behavior for so long is because, one, she found him attractive. That can explain why she never really gave any of those other guys the time of day. We've heard her talk about a dude that she met at the club before, but we never necessarily saw him and nothing really came up from that. While he was treating her like ass, he spent time with her. But also, if we sit and think about Stocking's home life, and it's not even technically her home because it's a temporary living situation where she is with her sister and Garterbelt, neither of those people treat her well. You can even attest that Patty and Stocking treat each other terribly, but we see that her sister treats her bad, and we also see that Garterbelt treats her bad. Mind you, she treats Garterbelt too just as bad, just as well. It's an overall fucked up situation. In this episode, I don't think it hit Penny until she saw what that guy was doing to her, how much of a terrible sister she was. This reminds me of something that happened in Monster High 13 Wishes. Anybody that is familiar with my channel knows that I talk about Monster High 13 Wishes quite often. So much of that movie has to do with the sister bond between Claudine and Howleen. We know that Panty and Stocking are sisters, and Panty is older than Stocking. Howleen is younger than Claudine. In the movie, we see how Claudine treats Howleen differently than her friends, and it makes Howleen feel some type of way, which is what leads to so much of Howleen's unhinged behavior as the movie goes on, with her making numerous bad decisions. I'm sorry, but if you are mean to your little sister, she's not gonna listen to you. Coming from someone who is a little sister, I understand it. Panty isn't necessarily the nicest to Stocking. Stocking isn't necessarily the nicest to Panty. So much of the show is usually just both of them calling each other a hoe and a bitch all the time. So one, if you don't already have a good home life, it's going to affect the way you interact with other people, because you're going to be around people that you are pretty much used to. I can attest to this because growing up, I was brutalized a lot by a lot of the people in my community, and I often found myself continuing to be friends with people who treated me terribly, to the point of them actually physically causing harm to me. But the reason why I kept going back to those type of people is because of the familiarity of it all. And when people that genuinely did care about me, but they had those times and moments where they were absolutely not nice to me, like how Claudine was to Howleen, I didn't listen to them because they already shown me meanness. I completely understand why Stocking was willing to run away with that man, because he felt like all she had. And I think this situation really hurt Panty more so with how she treats her sister, opposed to Stocking being with a man that treats her badly. Panty came to the realization that, yeah, I am awful to you, but I'm that terrible to you to the point where you're willing to run away with this horrible ass man so you can be away from me? Even though Panty was trying to help her sister, she didn't want to listen to her because of all the mistreatment that she has done to her before. And there even is a part where Panty was talking about how she's constantly being treated bad in her life too, just as well. This episode made me look at both Panty and Stocking differently, and it honestly is what won me over with Panty. As someone who has a lot of trauma with, horrible relationships, lots and lots of crying, that one line Panty said about how she doesn't know what real love either, but she knows it's not this shit, really hit me. Because Panty was able to get to the point where she realized that this type of relationship isn't okay, but Stocking isn't necessarily there yet. And it also has to do with the fact that Panty isn't looking for a serious relationship like Stocking is. I think because of what both sisters want in a relationship is why things played out so differently in this episode when it came to them. Stocking saw that this one man was giving her all this attention regardless of how horrible he was to her, where Panty is just trying to find a man that she can get it on with and then drop him. This situation right here did a great job with showing how different the sisters are. Because so much of the show has to do with Panty and Stocking being polar opposites of one another, with the exception of how much profanity they use and their preferences with certain things. But it also goes to show you who is older. And when I say older, we really get to see who is a bit more mature in situations. I am in no way, shape, or form saying that Stocking was being very immature with her going after this man. But I'm saying because Panty has so many issues with relationships in the past, she has able to get into a point where she's like, yeah, I don't want that. And I know that that is not all right. While both Panty and Stocking are very vulnerable in the situations that they are in, remember that everyone's vulnerability is different. Because we see that Panty ends up sleeping around with very, very questionable men. So like I said, it's not that much different. She just ends up making her horrible dating decisions differently than Stalking did. Moments like this when I'm watching Panty and Stalking where they actually make you feel something kind of make me sad because I realized that this show did have the potential to be much better. Because Panty and Stalking is kind of like a troll anime. That's what so many people refer to it as. But when it is good, it's actually great. When they actually put effort into the storytelling and the character development of the sisters, it's pretty damn good. Because this wasn't the only occasion where we watched the show and we actually start to have some sympathy for Panty and Stalking. Because in that bottle episode, the episode where they asses didn't leave the living room, you can tell that Panty was just over of living in Dayton City and she did want to go home, but Stalking was starting to feel indifferent towards the city because she was getting used to it. But also, there's an entire episode of where Stalking is able to go back to heaven and Panty is not because her behavior was significantly worse than Stalking's. And we see how much that changes her. She ends up finding her grandma. I don't even know if that lady was her real grandma. She lives on a farm and she changes so much as a person because she realizes like, ooh, I don't know if I want to keep being like this. I don't know if I want to keep acting like this because it's literally fucked up my life and I literally have nowhere to live anymore. Because there is one scene in particular in Panty and Stalking that haunts me because of how fucking sad it is. And it is the scene where Garterbelt throws Panty out the house. The reason Garterbelt allowed Panty to live in his home in the first place has to do with the fact that she was basically in charge of hunting the ghost in the town. Therefore, at that time period, she was useful to him. There's an arc where Panty actually loses her powers. She's no longer able to shoot with her gun. Well, she can shoot with the gun, it just don't fucking work. And because she no longer has any kind of power, he throws her out on the street while it's raining. Panty and Stalking is literally a hot ass mess. But moments like this are part of the reason why I enjoyed the series so much. Because while this show had fucking the most diabolical shit in it, I don't even want to get into it because like I said, this video won't get demonetized if I actually go into detail about what was in this show. It's like South Park. This show genuinely did get me to care about both of its main characters. And that right there is why I'm like, okay, if we're gonna do season 2, is it going to be a hot mess the entire time until like the last, like not even like the last 2 episodes, an episode every now and again? Because I feel like that's part of the reason why Panty and Stalking got canceled in the first place is because there was just so much bad that outweighed the good. But the good in the show, oh, it was actually great. I don't know. These are just some thoughts that I have. What do you think about this one episode of Panty and Stalking? Do you think Panty and Stalking has the potential to be a much better show without relying on shock, humor, and racism to tell its stories? I'm genuinely curious. Let me know down below. As I mentioned, the coupon for 40% off literally ends tonight, so use that if you would like. The book is now back in stock. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed my cute little Toji and Megara comic that I have made. I don't know if I want to continue this little comic series. I don't know. It's actually really cute to me. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great day, night, or whatever time of the day you chose to watch this video. I'm just thankful that you watched it with the ads on. All right, thank you. Goodbye.